everybody, we are here at the Idaho Falls Zoo with Sunny. Are you still the education director?
I'm actually the public engagement curator now.
Whoa.
Yes,
Very
fancy,
fancy.
yeah.
She's very fancy, and she's amazing. And I didn't say her last name because
Katsianis.
Blast it. Katsianis. So she's going to take us in. We're going to go see what the animals do during the winter.
Let's do it. This is Brittany, our amazing primate keeper, and she's going to be talking to you. We're just going to spend a couple of minutes. Brittany, maybe you want to highlight something in here, a little bit about primates?
So what we have here is we have looks like Ema up front. So she's our 17-year-old red ruff, and she's our matriarchal female. And then George is 4 over there, and he's our male in here. These two are just a pair right now. These guys can live for in 2 to 8 pairs. So typically you have a mating female that's the matriarchal figure of the group, and then you have the rest of the females that kind of are just there to support, and often they're all related. So it's really hard when you have 2 individuals to find related individuals unless you bring them all in as a group. So hopefully eventually we can do that. Since Ema's a little bit older, she probably wouldn't like other females in here. But the other cool thing about these guys is that these long tails here actually help them balance. So if you think of the snow leopards, when they're jumping on those big kind of tall cliffs, this tail is acting as the same for them as it is for the snow leopards. So they're actually able to balance with that tail, which is why it's so long, and it's also thick so they can wrap it on them if they ever get cold. But with all this...
Those are cotton top tamarins. So we've got golden lion tamarins and cotton top tamarins.
Yeah, they're so super cute.
And their little platform up there, isn't that the one that's heated?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So they have
a
heating area up there, which is about, it ranges from 95 to 100 degrees. So they're really toasty up there. The rest of the exhibit is relatively cooler just because of the type of heating that we have in there. But if they ever get cold, they can go up to that spot. Because they're so small, they don't regulate their body temperature as well. So we want to make sure that they have those nice heated spots to go if they do get cold. Luke, Leia!
She said she was going to go call him.
Yeah. Oh, there it is.
And see, it works.
Yeah.
Most of the time.
Putting on a show.
This is Luke, he's 4 years old, and then we have another otter in here, Leia, she is 14. Luke is the one that you'll see mostly up against the glass when you do come to the zoo. He loves to interact with people, he is very rambunctious because he's so young. Otters are actually completely built for this kind of weather, which makes them really special.
Really?
Their hair is actually very thick, and you can see all the bubbles coming out.
Yeah.
And that air actually allows the heat to keep into the coat, and then it releases and also makes them more buoyant. So they can actually float up after they dive down.
Wow.
That is a nice thick piece of ice on the outside.
Yeah, look at that ice.
Yeah, so these
do
guys
you-
are loving this kind of weather right now.
You heat this water in the
No.
winter? Really?
Since these guys are native, they would be in these kind of temperatures
So this is
anyway,
some
so this is
cold
pretty
water.
natural for
Okay.
them.
So we do have a couple of species here, you guys, that either people think, wow, they spend winter outside, or wow, don't they spend all of their winter outside? So we're going to meet one of our bird keepers next, Erica, and she's going to clarify a few things for us on probably some misunderstandings that people might have about a couple of the species that we've got
Love
here.
that.
Cool.
So let's head over here to Erica.
Hey,
So it surprises me to see flamingos outside.
Sure, so these guys, they do look like they'd be a little bit too tropical for the Idaho Falls climate.
Yeah.
But they are Chilean flamingos. They're known to migrate over the Andes Mountains. So that means that they can tolerate some pretty wild temperature fluctuations. Because they're zoo animals, they're a little bit spoiled. So if it's below 20 degrees, they go inside. So this barn over here has a pool inside. It's got heaters and skylights, so that way they stay as warm as they want to. As long as it's over 20 degrees, they get to come outside and enjoy the sunshine.
Wow.
So
There's
we,
somebody
They
there
just
in
keep
and
going
out,
back
in
and
out,
forth.
in and out.
yeah. So flamingos are, they're kind of dumb. They've got little teeny tiny brains, and that's okay. Some of us are just pretty, right? So these flamingos, they see me 5-6 times a day. I've been working with them for 5.5 years now. They still act like they've never seen me before.
Erica, tell us a little bit about, I'm sure the audience is going to wonder what's going on with all of our freeloaders that are in there.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit
Doesn't
about
look like they were invited to be here.
Right,
Yeah,
exactly.
so-
They act like they should be here,
Yeah, oh
right?
yeah, no, they.
So all over the zoo, especially during the winter, we get tons and tons of mallards. So the mallards are the ones with the green heads. Those are the males. And then the females are kind of the more dull, brownish, kind of stripy guys. Those are, again, they're all wild ducks. They come in because they know there's free food and no predators here. So they rely really heavily on having open, thawed water to stay warm on. We have plenty of that here because we're keeping that open for our animals. So they come in and they live the good life during winter. So they get lots of free food. Our duck food intake goes up by 3 to 4 times in the winter compared to the summer.
Goodness.
And so all of the mallards that you see year round, but especially in the winter, are wild and just come to freeload. These guys are like, well, there's no need to fly hundreds of miles and we can just hang out here. So, yep, it's their winter home.
One of the things that we end up seeing a lot usually in the fall and spring, is influx of some of the animals that are moving to and from the different zoos. And so Garrick is here. He's going to talk a little bit about that with us. And the reason for that is basically good shipping temperatures. So why don't you tell us about a new fella that we've got that's joined the zoo there, Garrick?
Alrighty, so if you can see behind me here, this is Diego. He is our newest guanaco.
Guanaco.
Guanacos are very closely related to llamas and alpaca. So they live in that alpine environment, the high mountains of South America. You can see he's very excited to be meeting new people.
Very excited,
and seeing people.
very engaging. Look at those pretty eyes.
And teeth. He's showing off his teeth.
He's smiling
Look
at
what
us.
I got.
So winter's a great time for us in order to introduce our animals to one another, especially when we have a new animal like this. So you can see all the way in the back there, that's our old male guanaco, Chico. So these guys are just kind of getting very cursory glances at each other and getting to know each other through the protective barrier of that fence around there. So we're able to do a lot more of these stuff through winter, through getting the animals in and out a bit easier, and also because without the public, it's a little bit less stress for these guys to become comfortable with one another.
Cool.
Oh, hey guys.
Alrighty, so these guys are our 3 girl zebras, our little zebra herd. As you can see, these guys always have indoor and outdoor access, especially in the winter. People who come to the zoo very often might notice that these guys look a lot shaggier than they do in the summer. That's because they grow a really thick winter coat. These guys are also ruminant animals, so they have 4-chambered stomachs, kind of like cows and horses. Whenever they have, that stomach design, that can generate a lot of heat for them. So we make sure to keep them pretty well fed on grasses and grains in order to keep those stomachs moving so that they never feel like they're too cold.
Wow.
Interesting.
Beautiful. Now these guys, are these African? Where's their origin?
So these guys are African originally, of course. Typically savanna type animals, so they do like those big grassy plains. But they're able to get along fine in the cold with those thick winter coats, and because we make sure that their diets are taking care of their metabolistic needs.
Yeah.
So why are our goats back here, Michaela? This looks a little bit different than the petting zoo, right?
Yeah.
So our goats are back here because in their normal summer habitat, they have sand, which is not great for our goats in the winter. It can get really slick.
Okay.
And also their barn is quite small. So back here they have a nice big barn that we can heat for them, and they have this big, huge yard for them to run around in. Which they really enjoy. You can see that they have enrichment around. So we got Christmas trees donated. These guys absolutely love Christmas trees.
Isn't that funny?
They strip
hi.
off all the bark, all the pine needles, absolutely everything. Should I talk about the new goats now?
Yeah.
Okay, and then we do have some new additions to our herd this winter. So right there is Mr. Waffles. He's one of our new kids.
Hi,
we call them
Waffles.
our breakfast
This one
club.
likes me.
So they all have breakfast names, and our 3 girls are over there. So Waffles is the only boy, and then over there we have Pancake, Muffin, and Miss Maple, who's checking out the hay right now. So we decided to go with a fun breakfast theme for them so that kids can remember their names easily, and also they kind of fit their personalities pretty well.
That's fun.
So these are the same goats I'll be petting in the summer.
Yep,
In
so,
the-
so
okay.
you guys will get the first pets on these next summer.
Yeah, and we hope we'll be able to turn back, go back into having the contact yard open,
Yeah.
the petting area open. We weren't able to do that this year with
Hopefully. Get
with
that
COVID.
vaccine
so
out, yeah.
get that vaccine out. And
right.
let's get things going, right? Let's get
That's
things back to
awesome.
normal. All right, so we are here with Katie. We're going to turn the time over to her now. And we're going to talk about a couple of animals that we have at the zoo here that love the winter. So
Oh,
let's do it.
All right.
really? Wow.
So these are 2 Bactrian camels, and this is Gobi, our male, and Zazu, our female.
And these guys are natural, wow. They are native to temperatures like this. So they're from the Gobi Desert, which is in the northeastern area of China and the southern part of Mongolia. And when you think of desert, of course you think more of the Sahara Desert or down in the US, you know, around Nevada area.
You don't think of cold in desert.
No, you don't. But the Gobi Desert does get cold. Well, and it's an important thing to remember too. That's a great point. We live in the middle of a high plains desert. That's why Idaho Falls looks the way that it does. So these guys, the Gobi Desert is very similar to the climate that we're experiencing right now. As you can see, they have all this nice fur here. I mean, you can see just how long and thick it is. I mean, it's real thick. You're being so good. I'm so proud of you.
You can do it, Jessica.
And so it's just like wearing a nice big winter coat with like a turtleneck and gloves.
Wow.
So they are well insulated. And as you can see, those humps, so that's actually where they store all their fat. Hi, mister. So in times that they can't find food, they actually can take those reserves. And our female, whenever she gives birth, she actually takes from those reserves to make milk.
Wow.
So her humps, when she has a baby, will actually get smaller because of that fact. And when he goes into rut, which will be coming on soon, he'll actually go off food. So his humps will get a little leaner during that time as well.
Wow.
So rut is when an animal starts going into mating season. So for these guys, just like a lot of hoof stock, they'll start spreading their scent around everywhere, rubbing on things. Again, if you can see the top of his head right there. Looks like he's got oily hair.
Yeah.
That's his scent glands.
Camel cologne.
Yep,
Camel cologne.
Ode de camel.
So is that all hair or is that some skin underneath on his neck?
That's all hair.
That's all hair.
Yeah, that's all hair. So the easiest place to see more skin is underneath here. Yeah. I mean, there's still fur, but it's only about this long. And that's because when they lay down, they tuck underneath.
Yeah.
So all of this here will come up and cover.
Interesting.
That, and then on his knees, and you can see here on his leg, this bald spot, that's kind of like having a knee pad. So it's nice and thick there, so when they lay on it, they don't get sores.
Yeah.
And so again, that's another way to kind of cushion. It's like wearing a shoe, cushioning against the cold when they lay down.
Yeah.
Oh, look at him. Wow.
Hey, mister. You know, so here we were talking about animals that are solitary. And it's interesting because snow leopards are actually very, very solitary as well. It's funny though, we've had some very personable males here at the zoo, have we not? Yeah. So Katie's gonna tell us a little bit about Mr. Layan here and why he likes the snow so well. So we have our two snow leopards. This is Layan. And up on the hill up there is Pandora. So Pandora is turning 3 this year and Layan turning 5. So they are right there at breeding age, and this is kind of their breeding season right now.
Okay.
So we're just kind of monitoring them and hoping that earlier this spring we'll have cubs.
Yeah.
We'll just have to kind of wait and see.
Well,
Katie, you might talk a little bit about, you know, we talked about how Layan was so personable and he kept coming up to you. Obviously, our big cats are not pets. You know, we get that question a lot. Do you go in with them? No. So Katie, you may talk a little bit about training. So with all of our guys, especially the ones we can't go in with, we try to do as much training as possible. That way we can get them to come up to us. You saw how he was standing up on the fence. This way we can check out their paws, we can check out their tummy, we get them to open, check their teeth. Inside the holding, I have kind of a little chute built to where I can get them to lay up against the fence. That way we can give them voluntary hip injections. So if we ever need to vaccinate them, sedate them, we can do everything that way without stressing them out. We don't have to dart. And then one thing that I'm going to be trying to work on is getting voluntary blood draws. And with that, you have to manipulate the tail, and most cats don't like their tails touched. Hi. But through a lot of that training, that's also where we create these bonds with them.
Yeah.
So this is the female, this is Pandora.
Wow.
This is quite a treat. She usually does not like to get this close.
So you will never go in here with the animal?
No.
Okay.
All right, Sunny, thank you.
Thank you
This was
for
so
coming.
fun
So fun.
to see behind the scenes at the zoo.
Isn't this
Winter at the
great?
zoo.
Yeah, winter at the zoo. And we are tentatively going to open around April 10th-ish.
10th-ish?
And so, yep, that's what we're hoping. So,
Wow, a few months away.
yeah, come and see us.
Can't believe
That's
it.
cool.
Awesome. Well, thank you. It was awesome.
Oh, thank
And you're
you.
open what days again?
Once we open, we're open 7 days
7 days a week,
7
okay.
days a week. Yeah.
Perfect.
Yep, exactly. So,
Awesome.
thanks for coming, you guys.
Thank
it was
you.
great to have you.
Okay, you guys, make sure you're hitting the zoo in the summer because it's amazing and these animals are amazing.
And come find out if there's going to be snow leopard cubs.
That's right.
Yeah,
Right?
hopefully.
Fingers crossed.
Pretty
That'd
cool.
be cool.
All right. Okay, you guys, let's see what's next.
The Nosy Neighbors, keeping you in the know.
Nosy Neighbors, keeping you in the know.
The Nosy Neighbors, keeping you in the know.
The Nosy Neighbors, keeping you in the know.
Nosy Neighbors, keeping you in the know.
So the Nosy Neighbors keeping you in the know.
The Nosy Neighbors are going to keep you in the know.